out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuning to Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kill. Got my squad with me, in effect with today. As always, Porsche, little sis, what's going on?
Not a whole lot, Kill. How are you?
Everything is dope. My brother, Burnout to ATL, what's going on, good brother?
Glad to be here, ready to rock.
All right. JR, the R&B guru, what's going on, good brother?
What's going on? Got a nice after work drink. I'm ready to go.
I know the red cup is there. You good to go? Got my brother Amir out of Mount Vernon. What's going on, good brother?
What's the word, man? I'm chilling.
Everything like that. And for the first time chopping it up with us, I got my guy, Jamil Honesty. What's going on, good brother?
Hey, salute. What's good, man?
Everything is good, man. Everything is good. As always, I got to salute my favorite album of 2021, Amir and P Rock, 21 grams. If you don't got it, go grab it. Got the ill red vinyl out here, so that's definitely official like that. So definitely go support that. As always, let's jump right into it. You know me. So this week's show is about 5 times that hip-hop and R&B, if people have them, that 5 times that something in hip-hop broke your heart. Now let me break that down to where it came from. I was chopping up on the timeline. Last week's show, the 88 show, has been an incredible show. So much interaction on the timeline about memories and albums and just everything like that. And one of my guys hit me and was like, yo, y'all ain't mentioned the Steady B, Let the Hustlers Play. And I was like, ugh, that's a thorn in my side right there, because of Steady and Cool C and the whole bank robbery and killing the female cop and everything. And I was like, yo, that right there is a time that, like, my heart was broken. You know what I mean? So thinking about that, I was like, yo, let's chop it up about that. You know what I mean? For people watching, I told everybody to try to, if you can, keep it to a maximum of 2 deaths, because truth be told, anytime somebody passes away in hip hop or R&B is a time, your heart could have been broken or anything like that. So it doesn't have to be super duper serious like a death. It could be a crew breaking up. It could be different things. So I'm intrigued about that. But to kind of touch on a little bit more, because my guy really didn't get it. Like, damn, that really fucked you up like that. I'm like, me being from Philly, Steady B for me was kind of like what I would say like Nas is for somebody from Queensbridge. You know what I mean? Or what Heavy was for somebody from Mount Vernon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, and I remember that day being in Philly and you hearing about the bank robbery. I mean, it's literally like if you watching any of them heist movies, The Town or Set It Off, like all day on TV, it was just like, yo, bank robbed, black female cop shot. And it's just like, damn, like, yo, that's crazy. Like, yo, niggas is wilding out here. And then around maybe 6, 7 o'clock, I remember it being like, word started getting the air, like, yo, it was Steady being Cool C. And it's like
crazy. Like,
yo, you serious? Like, and I'm sure anybody who wasn't from Philly just got the news all in one bundle. Like, yo, this is what happened. Whereas like we're getting the news like hour by hour, and it's just like, yo, you gotta be kidding me. Steady being Cool C did what? Like, a black female cop got murdered, and it's just crazy. So like that's definitely, it's funny, one of my guys reached out to me once and he wanted to do a little like a screenplay or something on the Hilltop Hustlers, and he was like, yo, Kill, I want you to write it. And I said, bro, I can only do it if like 60 to 70% is about the Hilltop and 30-40% is about the female cop and like her life, you know what I mean? And kind of doing some digging into it, found out like she had 2 sons, you know what I mean? So, and then like, I think, don't quote me, but I know one of the sons may got locked up, and now I'm thinking like, damn, did he get locked up because his mom's died and she ain't there no more? So it's just a heartbreaking situation about the whole thing. And I mean, Stead is locked up for life. Cool C is on death row. I think he's been pardoned a couple of times. I don't even really know where the case is right now, but definitely a moment that hip hop broke my heart. And it's hard for me to even listen to Stead sometimes. You know what I mean? Like his second album, What's My Name, that was a 5 mic classic to me, but it's hard to listen to. Not hard as listening to my R&B boy who was Candyman. And for people watching who may not know my joke about Candyman, I'm talking about R. Kelly. I refuse to say the nigga's name. You know what I mean? So I called the nigga Candyman. But it's the same shit. Like that's heartbreaking to me. Like, yo, that was my guy. Like when 12 Play came out, my nigga, if you was in college, if you was smashing, like 12 Play was the soundtrack. Like that was across the board one of the greatest albums. And I mean, just to hear the allegations, then to see all these R. Kelly documentaries and how many lives that this dude, like literally, like I don't know what spirit that is, what demon that is, I don't know what it is, but that's just increasingly heartbreaking for me to know. From number one, working with teens, number two, to having a daughter. You know, it's just, that's a heartbreaking situation. So Steady B and Cool C, hip hop for me. Candyman, R&B for me. Porsche, give me a time when something in hip hop broke your heart.
Okay, I think everybody in the English-speaking world is going to expect me to say this, and it's the RZA flood, the first one, and that one because obviously we like a lot of dope beats were lost. Meph's album was affected, Inspector Deck's album was affected, and we will never know what could have been or would have been if that had never happened. And I think it was like when that came to light, because obviously it took time to get to know that. That's when I was like, oh, it was just such it was so deflating, you know, because you hear what was on 36 Chambers and then you think like, damn, like it could have been that much, those albums could have been that much better. So for me, it was the first RZA flood.
Here's the thing, and I'm asking everybody up here. I feel like these floods are like some urban folklore. Like, I know they happen. Most of those floods happen.
Preaching to the choir, Kill.
There's always a different story. Like, it's like, so Tikal wasn't Tikal, but then were all the bill for Cuban Links, Liquid Swords, were those new beats that were made? Like, I'm so confused over what was lost and what wasn't lost and all of that stuff. Amir, do you know some back secret channels on what happened with this flood or anything?
I just know that I'm not really at liberty to say. I'll say this though, man. Everything still panned out the way it's supposed to. I don't think the majority of those beats were lost. I think, but a good portion of it was though. I mean, from what I heard, yeah.
Because I know the whole hoopla is Deck's album was gone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And again, I don't know how much of the Hulu series is kind of like really on par. I know they had to embellish it for television, but it seemed like in the series it was like, okay, boom, I got these 12 discs for Meth, these for Ray, these for everybody. So I when they talk about Deck's album being lost, I'm like, was Deck up first? Because you know
that's what they said. Yeah.
So Deck was supposed to be up first.
That's what they say. That's what I think RZA had mentioned that he was supposed to come out during that, you know, that time with, you know, Cuban Links and all of that, and he was saying that his album was on par with those
with Ray and Ghost and
those classics. Yeah, yeah, and it makes sense because you gotta. I mean, we talking about Inspector Deck. Yeah. You know?
I'm just always, I'm always leery because as a producer, I'm just like, okay, he seemed to be in his. I need RZA to really just answer some questions, and I feel like nobody has really ever like, you know, did a like lawyer client type like, yo, my nigga, so help me understand this. Like, give me a timeline and a breakdown. You know what I mean? When was the first flood? What did we lose? What did we lose? And everything like that. But neither here nor there. Dope on Porsche because the flood, I mean, I guess you could say if the flood never happens, I mean, I know some people have RZA as a top 3 producer. Maybe if the flood doesn't happen, he's number 1. I don't know. You know what I mean? So definitely a what if moment. Jamil, your first time chopping it up with us. What's one of your times that hip hop broke your heart?
I got a few.
Start with one first. We're gonna go around.
You know what? Since we talking about the Woo, right? One of the things that broke my heart about a Woo affiliate.
Please don't say
I,
Street Life, because I don't know who that is.
No, not Street Life, not Street Life.
Cool. Right.
But Killer Sin, immensely talented MC, and I feel like if he was given the chance, or if given the time, we would probably see more of him or hear about him a little bit more, because he was dope. I think he could stand with the main nine.
Okay.
That's how dope he
now
is.
school me, because I was Wu-Tang the core, like as the Sons of Mans and the Killer and the Armies and all that broke off. I'm not really up on that. So who was Killer Sin with?
Killer Army.
Killer Army. All right, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. So dope. He caught a case. He caught a murder charge or whatever. So he's gonna be locked down for a minute. You know what I mean? But just me being a dude from Staten Island,
so that's home for you. That's home.
Yeah, Wu-Tang is that's my heroes. You know what I mean? Those are my heroes. So it's like, with Killer Sin though, man, dude is nasty. Always has been. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it kind of hurt me to see that we probably not gonna hear nothing else from him.
Right.
Because he locked down or whatever, decisions made, life happens, people make decisions or whatever. I'm not judging, but it's just it's hurt. It's hurtful, man. You know what I mean?
Nah, I definitely feel you. I definitely
caught
feel
up in those situations.
No doubt. Vern, what you got? Hip hop, R&B, both?
Yeah, okay, I'll do two together. But I got a Woo affiliate, but I'm gonna save it for my honorable mention because I didn't think about it till y'all just started talking. But hip hop, first one for me, I caught it as I was watching his documentary series, Kanye West.
That was on mine.
Like I remember, I didn't know who the dude was. I was working, and the dude was like, "Man, I know you would like him. Here, take this CD." And when I heard it, it was like hearing native tongue again. It was. I mean, you got to think about what was going on in hip hop at the time. So to hear a backpacker dude, or like kind of everyman type dude, to come out and do what he did and go on a nice little run. The heartbreaking thing is, after 808, I've never heard anything from him, and I'm cool with that because I don't rock with him. Period. I don't care what y'all tell me his stuff sound like. I don't rock with him. So heartbreaking, I don't know, but disappointing definitely. What he turned into, and I'm not expecting you to remain who you were on your debut album, but I ain't expecting you to go from that to that. So
tell me this: is there something that happened where you're like you don't even listen to dude? Like you don't like? Was it something?
I mean, all the antics, all the ego, megalomaniac type vibe. I don't mess with people like that. Be it music, be it acting, nothing. Especially not in real life. So when you become that, I don't mess with you, man.
All right, no, I feel you. I can respect that. I can respect that. What's on the R&B tip?
R&B tip. All right, this one broke my heart because my homegirl Nikki, she loved music like I do. She's a real estate agent. She was like, "You going to the Prince concert? He's in Atlanta." I'm like, "Man, I ain't paying $180 to see him play no piano. I could buy all his records or whatever." I remember where I was in Atlanta. I see it right now. I was on 75 South. And I called my girl Nick. I was like, "Did you hear?" And I'm on the phone crying because, number one, because he died, but number two, because I had the opportunity. That was his last concert, man, in Atlanta, and I could have went, but I didn't. So that's the one on the R&B side.
No, I feel you on that. Amir, what you got up for me? What's up to bat?
It was a couple of things, bro, but I think for me, it was when I found out about what they call it. Let's call it Enterprise Operations Unit, aka the Hip Hop Police in New York, man. That shit was when I like, you know what I'm saying. So for me, and they was creating like this rap intel unit, but I felt like it was what they I guess called dog whistle racism, one of the first open dog whistle racism units that would target, because you talk about hip hop police or enterprise operations unit. I think it was in 1995-6 when I actually looked up the dates on it. But that shit had really shook up like the streets of New York for a minute, man, because you know when people came to New York and artists from New York was moving around, bro, it was a lot of people getting hurt and etc. But it was supposed to be collecting like gang intelligence, but then they was trying to weave in, you know how the streets and hip hop kind of have this this thing in harmony with each other. So I feel like to me that was one of my most heartbreaking moments. I'm like, damn, you got police in the streets and police in hip hop. This is crazy. So, where do we really go in the sense of like even, and that was super political too. So just to show more control and restraints on artists and men of color as a whole, even in our creative zone.
I gotta look it up, but I got a book on the hip hop police like that I read years ago that was like you said, crazy to really believe that there was really like how they got a gang task force, like it was a hip hop task force. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel you on that. JR, what you got? Hip hop or R&B or both?
This is gonna be a funny one. When I heard Ether for the first time,
that was heartbreaking because your man.
It was hard because I'm a Brooklyn head. Even though Nas is a favorite MC, when you around a lot of Nas fans and they know you from Brooklyn, and we're hearing this, and all eyes is on you, what do you say? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like,
yeah, you can. Not too many people could say much after Ether came out, man.
Right. So I'm sitting there, and then Flex is just like dropping straight bombs on this joint. So I'm just like, and I'm like, y'all, I am a Nas fan, but they like, this your Brooklyn dude. So it's like, it was very heartbreaking. It was very heartbreaking being in front of that, and it was nothing I could say. It was just like, yeah, go listen to Takeover after this. No.
You know what? Let me ask y'all a question. Do you think at that point in hip hop, because I think that, I know there was a point in hip hop where people just stopped caring. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is we talk about in the 80s, if you lost the battle, it was a wrap, your career was over. You know what I mean? When I think, was it Gilly who had the picture of Wayne kissing Baby, and it was like, yo, that's the big Joker, boom, and niggas was like, well, it don't really matter. I mean, you can kiss your dad on the lips. I'm like, nigga, that ain't his dad, but neither here nor there. Or when it was like, oh, Rick Ross is a CO and then he's lying, and like nobody just cared anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, is that why Jay was able to bounce back from that? Because Ether was pretty bad. Like, that kind of to me was the death blow. Like, that was the fucking crane kick from Karate Kid. Like, how do you come back from that? Was it that nobody cared anymore? The rules were out the window, and as long as Jay's a millionaire, you never can lose?
But it was fine because then after he came with Super Ugly, which was even worse. Like you come with that, and it was just like, all right, you thinking, all right, Jay gonna come back from this joint. He gonna get at him, and he did Super Ugly, and it was just like, this is, oh no.
But that's what I mean. But Jay is still here. You know what I mean?
He made great business moves. I mean,
but that doesn't have it. But this is what I'm saying is this when we stop caring in hip hop?
Yeah.
Because business moves should have nothing to do with the battle.
Agreed. I agree with you. I agree.
I think
nobody cared anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. Cold day in hip hop. That's another piece of hip hop. I didn't even think of that one. But that's another place where hip hop broke my heart. Niggas don't care no more.
But he getting money though.
I was gonna say that too.
Money.
But
that's all they say. Yeah.
That's it. Like I said, as long as Jay's a million, I always say that if Jay and Dame switch places and Jay was, technically broke and getting sued all over the place and everything like that, 90% of that nigga's fans would disappear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't represent the wealth that most people who are Jay-Z fans love the wealth. You know what I'm saying? So I just, yeah. So that's a, thanks for that one, JR, because that's a hip hop moment that broke my heart. That we just don't care. We don't care
We
about the
don't care.
rules no
Yep.
more. We don't care about if Rick Ross said I'm not a CO, but I am a CO. Oh fuck it, I lied. I'm a CO, and niggas still like that would have been done back in the day. You know what I mean? Like you done. If Jay was talking about he a drug dealer, and we find out that nigga went to school with Mrs. Garrett at the Facts of Life. Like that nigga's dead. Like, yo, like nah, nigga, you was talking about all this weight you
Miss
move and you go to
Garrett,
private school in Peekskill, New York. Like you done. So yeah, Streets is dead, man. Streets is dead. What's your R&B one? Because I know you got one.
Oh yeah. When Curtis Mayfield passed,
Yeah.
that broke me because that's my soul story. That's where it all began for me with him. And so when that happened, it was like we heard it on WBLS, and we were coming from my father's mother, and we were leaving to go back to Jersey, and we just heard it. And my mom and dad knew how much he meant to me, so they just looked back at me, and I didn't say nothing from the ride from Brooklyn back to Jersey. I didn't speak. I didn't say nothing because I just couldn't believe he wasn't breathing anymore. And it was just like, and I always wanted him and Raphael to work together. So I would never get that. That's what I wanted. I wanted Raphael and Curtis Mayfield to work with each other. And I knew I would never get it. So, and he was already eyeing him already. Like, I see this kid. Like, he gives me. And for that to happen, and I was just like, damn, like that. And then I wanted two of my favorite producers to work together or do something. And it never happened, so that broke my heart for real.
No doubt. The second joint I got up is the EPMD breakup. Yeah, I mean, this is pre-social media, this is pre-Twitter, so you're hearing rumblings and magazines and on the radio about Eric set Parrish up to get robbed and had people run up in Parrish's crib and duct tape that nigga and all this stuff, and it's just like, yo, are you dead ass? Like, E did that to Pete? Like, yo, this is EPMD, you know what I mean? And then that just was the breakup of the Hit Squad. I still remember reading that issue of The Source where everybody at the Hit Squad was like, they had to picture them from the back, and it was kind of like, yo, this is it for the squad. And it was just like, damn, how, like, what happened? And I don't think to this day, through all them, what's that joint that comes on TV1, JR?
TV1,
Unsung. Like, like they never really speak on it. You know what I mean? Like, so again,
I was gonna ask y'all, do y'all like actually believe that happened with him setting, what's the name up? Like, I don't know, like, because I asked my pops about it, and my dad is like, he was like, I don't, something about it. He was like, something fishy.
I mean, P said that word got the air that it was Eric. I mean, you know what I mean? Like the dudes who did it or whatever, I forgot what the situation is that it was Eric. And during the whole time, it was like, yo, I'm not going to break up because we on this Hit Squad tour, whatever. But I'm just like, yo, how do a nigga rob you? You know what I mean?
Have you taped up on the floor? Nah, dog.
Yeah, like, and I'm on tour with you like that. Yeah. Like, I may love all of y'all to death, but if Vern fucking get me robbed, nigga, Apartment 5B, the tour over, like, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, and then nobody's ever really spoken on it. Like, there's always so many rumors, especially then with one about Eric where he had to jump out the window or something, or some crazy stuff. So, to this day, and it was around that same time that Eric moved to Atlanta. And opened up the Rim shop in Atlanta and really set up shop in Atlanta. And that's when he started rocking with Illegal and Dallas Austin and Darvin and all them niggas. So it's like that nigga like on some old Fled New York type thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but that was my heartbreak with hip hop is EPMD breaking up that whole, and not just the breakup, but the whole your man getting your man robbed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, could y'all even imagine word getting in the air like, yo, Vern had killed Rob? Like,
nah, dog.
Like,
nah.
Like, that's what it was for us. And again, this isn't Twitter, so we could just go on Eric's social media and see what he's saying and jump on Parrish's social media. Like, we just waiting for the next episode of The Source to come out, or we waiting for an episode of Yo MTV Raps to come out to like get the next chapter of it. And on the R&B front, it was Kenny Green from the intro Dying back in 2000.
Yes.
just the whole, because even though we're in the 2000s, AIDS still, that was around the time when so many people were, dying of AIDS, so it was just like, wow, like it was a wild moment because that intro album, I mean, Vern and JR are two of the biggest fans of that album that I know, so I don't have to tell them how incredible that album was.
Yeah.
So it was not just hearing that he died, but just dying of AIDS. It's just like, wow, that's, definitely a heartbreak. Porsche, what you got up next, miss?
Okay, this one is probably the most heartbreaking thing for me ever.
Well, you know what? Before you say that, because I want to try to liven up the show a little bit, because I don't want the show to be depressing for people.
Okay.
Vern, you know that I don't know what people say in lyrics, right? We all know that, right? And after my skit last week with Trading Places, y'all know I don't know what people say in movies also. So I'm up at 2:30 last night watching YouTube. Somehow, miraculously, Beat Street comes on, right? So Beat Street comes on. We all know the opening scene. Kenny, you ain't going nowhere until you bring your records home. So y'all are with me. So they're walking out the door, and Charlie and Lee's mom comes in, and Charlie says, we're off to work. And then Ramos says, it's party time. And she says, which one is it? And Kenny says, it's both, right? Do y'all remember this?
Yeah.
I was 30. It's been all my life. Let me tell you what I thought she said.
Oh, God.
I thought she said, when Ramos says it's party time, I thought she said, well, where's Lee? And I thought Kenny said, he's in his boat. And I don't know why I thought there was. I'm like, where's the boat? Where's in the South Bronx? Where the fuck? I know it makes no sense.
Only
but
you.
For years,
Only you.
I really thought it was like, well, where's Lee? Oh, he's in his boat. And then they just kept leaving. And then last night it was like a brain explosion emoji of, oh shit, she's saying which one is it? And he's saying it's both. So
really,
you don't understand how many people have DM'd me and got at me dying laughing about the Trading Places thing. Y'all know me. I have no problem.
Oh, for real? They got you. Yeah.
I enjoy it, bro. I enjoy making fun of myself, man. Life ain't that serious. I'm in the hood all day getting
That's
shot
real.
at,
That's
dog.
real.
I need some laughter in my life.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Porsche. Give me something serious.
Okay, again, this is probably the most heartbreaking thing for me about like hip hop is that somewhere along the way, people stopped teaching or talking about the elements, the foundation of what created hip hop. And that to me, like, I try not to think about it so much because, I mean, I've told stories on episodes before that as a kid, I used to watch the train come through the city that I grew up in. And because we were the primary exporter of grain. So we had lots of trains coming through the city all the time. And that's where I saw graffiti. That's where I learned what graffiti was. That's where I got to see it and all of that. So, and then DJing and like just all the elements at a certain point were just always talked about or were always weaved in to conversations in and around hip hop. And then at some point, and I can't even pinpoint when it stopped, but it completely stopped. And it's heartbreaking because that's what hip hop was built on and created on and taught and, practiced and championed. And then now there's a whole generation that doesn't know about it if they're not specifically going to research it. And it's sad for me because that was such a big part of my life. It was just weaved into every single thing I did for my formative years with hip hop. And now it's just it's just gone. And it's so sad. I'm going to start crying.
Don't cry.
No, I'm not going to cry. I'm okay.
I would say to answer your question of how or when, I think it just happened throughout time as things started to get played out. You know what I mean? So after a while in New York, and I'm sure America speak to this too, is just about the graffiti laws were changing. You know what I mean? Different things like that. So you basically wipe out graffiti on the trains. Eventually, hip hop got too hard to even dance anymore. You know what I mean? We didn't need the Scoob and Scraps. We didn't need the Chosen Few who were G-Raps dancers. Heavy D and the Boys eventually dancing got played out. You know what I mean? So now all you can do is a two-step. So now there's no breaking. Eventually I always say the invention of the DAT got rid of the DJ. because when you could just get your DAT tape and give the DAT tape to your sound man, that got rid of the DJ. So at the end of the day, it's kind of just like, there goes three of the elements, wiped out. And the only thing left is the music. So I always say that most people fall in love with hip hop at 10 years old. So somebody who's 10 in 1994, 10 in 1990, you don't know nothing about breaking, graffiti, or really DJing is still kind of there, but it's like slowly but surely getting phased out. Which I want to shout out Tracy Lee's wife, Lori Nelson Lee's Hip Hop Don't Stop book. And one of the things I love about it is it says, my daddy says hip hop is more than just music, it's a culture. And I think that that's so huge for kids to read a book like that and to have that seed planted, to prayerfully have that kid then say, well, what's a culture? Or what's, talk to me more about the culture. I was saying how this book may only be no more than 14 pages, but if Naomi was still a little kid, or when I'm with my nieces and my nephews, each page is going to be a day, because we're going to dive into everything that they're saying. So I think this, again, is a great place to start that, because you're right, Porsche. To me, like I said, if you're 10 from 94 on, you have no idea what breakdancing is. You have no idea why it's dope. It looks corny. Niggas are spinning on their heads. What kind of nut ass shit is that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it, but that was the culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. But what it is, like, my only thing about that is, you're absolutely right, and I definitely see it. It's just where I grew up was, again, like I said, it's Fargo, North Dakota, like 4 hours up north from.
You're from Fargo?
No, I'm not.
The TV show? Oh.
No, like Fargo, North Dakota, and then across into Canada. Okay, that's where. Okay. So imagine it's the same demographic, it's the same population as Fargo, North Dakota. But I somehow learned, as I was learning hip hop, I was learning the elements. So it's kind of annoying, or I guess kind of frustrating, to hear that it just got lost along the way because this happened. And I didn't move to BC until well into the 90s. So this was happening throughout. So I don't know when, as like old heads or whatever, we stopped talking about that. And I guess it's sort of like a supply and demand. If no one's really demanding it, no one's really supplying it. So I guess it's one of those things. So, but anyways, that's the absolute most heartbreaking thing for me in hip hop. So
here's the thing. Let me ask a question to everybody. EPMD was going on tour last year. They weren't taking scratch. He felt some kind of way because he felt like he's part of the group. Truth be told, I never looked at Scratch as part of EPMD. I looked at him as he was the DJ, but I don't know. I just never looked at them as EPMD and Scratch. Do you think they should take him out on the road because they're hip hop, they're the DJ? Like, Vern, what do you think? Do you take Scratch?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a live show. It ain't like Eric and Parrish out there, doing scoop and scrap dance moves. So yeah, I think you need to take that DJ out with you for your live performance. But that's just me.
All right, Jamil, what you think?
Repeat that one more time.
EPMD's going out on tour. Scratch, they didn't take Scratch. Scratch felt some kind of way, like, yo, I'm part of the group. Like, you can't tour without me type thing. And I don't know if there's beef. I don't know if it's a financial thing. I know back in the day, it was like, well, we don't need a DJ because we got the DAT to you. You know what I mean? Or we don't need you anymore. So it's kind of like the DJ got played out. So do you think EMP are wrong? Or like same thing with Salt and Pepper with the whole Spinderella thing. It was like, no, you ain't part of the group. Like, you a consultant. You'll work for hire. You know what I mean?
I think when we when I say we, I'm not just saying us in this room, but as a genre, when we stop really putting DJs on that pedestal like we used to, I think that's when things kind of took a turn for the worse. At one point, the DJ was the center of attention.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the rapper was, at the time and the inception of it was in Caribbean they were considered to be the toasters, right?
Right. Yeah.
But the DJ was the
The DJ
nucleus.
was the main draw. Like
Yeah,
they came to
you
see
know what I mean?
Fab. They came
Yeah.
to hear Herc spin. Like
Yeah.
yeah, the DJ was the forefront.
Yeah, I think when we lost that, you know, and you know, everybody, I like I said, I don't want to put this on everybody because there's examples of people paying homage and being respectful to the art and of DJing and all of that, you know what I mean? But I think, as a whole, that respect is not there. You know what I'm saying? So you have a situation like that where Scratch is just we don't need you anymore. Right. What is that? You know what I'm saying? What is that? That's crazy. Yeah. Because 9 times out of 10 back in the day, I mean, I'm 42. You know what I'm saying? But what I can remember is usually the DJ was the producer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was making the beats.
Yeah, and I mean, even when we lost the DJ in the group, we still had the need of the DJ for mixtapes.
Right.
People forget that Bad Boy had their whole series with Clue. You know what I mean?
Right.
SMS and so even the Rockefellers and the Bad Boys still needed the DJ, even though it wasn't the DJ as we know it. It's kind of that progression. Like we had breakdance, and then we had Heavy D and the Boys and Scoop and Scrap, and then we just came to the 2-step. Like we had the Jazzy Jabs. It came to just mixtapes, and then it kind of just disappeared. Amir, what do you think, good brother?
About that question, or just one of my
No. Just the question is bad as far as like is it fucked up that EPMD doesn't look at Scratch as like, yo, you're an important part of our show. Like if EPMD is going out on tour, do you think it's messed up that they're not taking Scratch with them? And again, I know you're in the business, so I don't want. If you gotta, pass on it, I don't want no hard feelings next time you run into somebody.
He like.
Now I'm dead ass. I'm like, I understand the game.
That there is a moral and ethical dilemma with that. The way I would measure it, but if that man is not able to. It's the hip hop, it's the music business, it's not the music friendship.
Right.
And I think sometimes people get that confused. So if Scratch wasn't able to negotiate the terms on which he could go on the road or whatever, whether it was per diem or I'm gonna take a cut, because of course you want to get paid, right? So if they're getting paid X, Y, and Z per show, and Scratch, I remember, I won't say who, like years ago, I'm gonna say over 10, right? When somebody asked me to go on the road with them, they didn't have per diem for me, right? I said I'd rather stay in the hood and just sell some weed or some shit than to go out in the summer to fuck around, and be on the road with niggas and not get no bread. So I said, it looked cool, but I wasn't about to take that chance. So I understand if Scratch had his paper up or this, he was able to pivot that into other business for himself, then yeah. But if it wasn't lucrative, I would suggest that he learns how to, and not just them, anybody learn how to posture their business and not their friendship, because clearly, there wasn't, those lines are blurred. And if the parameters of your friendship are not defined, somebody feeling disrespected is inevitable.
Yeah.
Nah, good point. All right, no doubt. Jamil, what's your next time that hip hop broke your heart, good brother?
Oh man, this might be a little petty, but I'm gonna just put this out here. The miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
I'm not mad at that. I got that on.
I ain't mad at that at all.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Not because it's not a great album, because it is. But prior to that, you know what I mean? We were reading articles. We were reading The Source, and she's in the studio with Primo, and she's in the studio with this one and that one. You see her pictures with Q-Tip, right? So I popped the tape in. The first song, okay, she's singing. All right, cool. You know what I mean? Second song, she's singing. All right, cool. Third song, she's singing. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Excuse my language. But it was like, we wanted a hip hop album from Lauryn Hill, right?
Yep.
So it took me, it was a bittersweet kind of thing, because I was upset at the fact that it wasn't her spitting on the whole album, but it turned out to be one of my favorite albums of all time. But that's one of my joints where kind of broke my heart at first.
Nah, I feel you, bro. I had Lauren and 3000 down.
Yeah.
As you know, I wanted hip hop albums from both of them. And same like you. Love Miseducation, love The Love Below. You know what I mean? But I wanted those hip hop albums from both of them.
Right.
When they both were like in their bag. Like I know 3000 now because that Love Below had to be like what 2000,
2003,
2004. Yeah, 2000. Okay, 2000.
Oh, 2004. Yeah. So 2003, like, right? Is it 2003 or 2004? Okay.
Yeah, it end of 2003.
Yeah. So just the fact that now I know 3000 don't want to make no album. You know what I mean? And I don't know if Lauren want to make no album. And I ain't mad at them. Like I'm not one of those people who's like, I don't want you to go do something you don't want to do.
Right.
I just wish we could have got a hip hop album from both of them when they wanted to still make music.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? Because I wish so. Nah, bro. You in my head on that one.
I thought y'all was going. I thought y'all was going to hate up me, man.
That's valid. That shit is on my list, bro. Like,
but this is one time that me and my mom kind of went back and forth with, because when I heard the Miseducation, I was expecting a hip hop album too. But she was like, "But wait a minute." Lauren was singing and spitting on the score and the album before then. So she was like, you really wasn't expecting this? Like, she was like, the artistry of her. You knew she was singing on the first album, she was singing on the second, and she was spitting on both. So you didn't think you were going to get this from Miseducation? I'm like, but no. I'm like, again.
But see, that's
like,
the thing.
like
I don't feel like she was really singing on the score like that.
Yeah.
She was spitting more than she was saying. I mean, what? The Killing Me Softly? Other than that,
she's also like, right, like she's singing like
she
one
was
of the
singing
books.
chorus. So I don't mind you singing the chorus.
Yeah, it was kind of like her act. Yeah, it was like part of her act. Like when she would do like flex freestyles or whatever, she would, hey yo, 1, 2, 3, and then she would go into her verse. You know what I'm saying? So we would be like, we wouldn't pay attention to it. What shocked us, what shocked me, I mean, I was in high school at the time. I remember I was in a hack. I was in Baltimore. We call them hacks. I was in a hack, and Killing Me Softly came on. I was like, oh, that's Lauryn Hill? Like, I was taken aback. Like, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? It was her singing, and she sound good. But that was the first time, I guess myself and my generation really heard her sing like that. Unless you looked at Sister Act, but I wasn't paying attention to that.
And to this day, I still have never seen Sister Act 1, 2, 3. I don't know none of them. I have no urge to watch Whoopi Goldberg again. So I'm
not even jumping Jack Flash.
I probably saw that whatever year it came out and never went back to see it again. Like Whoopi, I'm still wondering how she got naked pictures of God and how she's still relevant to this day. So yeah, I don't get Whoopi. Vern, what about you? Hip hop, R&B.
All right, I'm gonna go hip hop, and it's a shame that it's still going on. There are, I would say, 2 generations of hip hop fans who really don't understand the greatness of De La Soul, because that stuff is not streaming. They made this big hoopla
that was on my list,
and we still don't have their stuff streaming. What are y'all doing, man? I mean, y'all. That's what I mean. They're on my wall. Y'all know that right there. The kids need to know who y'all are and understand y'all greatness. Great body of work, but it's not accessible. So that's what one I would say. I don't know if it broke my heart, but you get my point.
Right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs from them is Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my joint. Yeah, Jenny. Yeah, that was my joint.
The first song I ever heard by De La.
Yeah.
Let me ask this. Do you think if it was on streaming that this younger generation would know?
Well, more of them would. I mean, shoot, I'm pissed because I can't get their stuff. I want their soul is dead.
So this stuff didn't. I thought they won the battle. They was on Teen Titans and all that.
They did, but it still ain't streaming. They were supposed to November of last year.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's like that's been like a 20+ year battle, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I definitely do wish more people would kind of know they lie. But I mean, I think it's kind of like too, man. Like I always challenge this old heads, man. We got to find some kids and we got to school them, man. We got to school them.
I can't school them if I can't play their stuff myself. Cause I'm
gonna send you the MP3 files. So you can just save them to your phone, bro.
All right, do that.
So you could definitely hook your car, your phone up to the whip and everything like
sure.
that, man.
Do that, please.
Yeah, no doubt. But you got an R&B joint?
I don't have a lot of them, but I would say I'm from Gary. Michael Jackson to me wasn't just Thriller and Bad and stuff. Michael Jackson to me was I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, Give Love on Christmas Day. I'm going back to Indiana, looking through the window. And when he died, I think he died the day after my birthday. That was impactful, because he's our icon from Gary. We grew up with this dude.
Right.
And he was gone, man. So that would be mine for R&B.
All right, no doubt. Amir, what you got up next, good brother?
Yo, it's bugged out, man. When I saw Sticky Fingers get beat up by the white boy on MTV, man, it's crazy.
How did I miss?
On MTV, right? On MTV, I remember that.
He got beat up by a white boy.
I thought one of y'all was gonna say it.
What happened? Y'all gotta give me the background of this. Like,
and we talk about the whitest dude you can find too.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah, they whipped it. He ran. Like he was in the ring running, bro. It's crazy.
I apologize. This was a boxing match?
Word on MTV, bro.
I'm about to pull this shit up right now over here. Let me pull up the tab over here. Because I don't understand how niggas will tell me about everything else, and I've never heard about Sticky Fingers.
That was funny because all the rappers was like, we got Sticky. X was on there like, I got Sticky, dog. I got Sticky. I'm like, nah, this nigga got.
This is After this is over, I'm definitely watching this. I gotta pull up. I don't understand how nobody has ever told me about Sticky taking an L on MTV.
Oh yeah, that was big.
Oh man, that's crazy. Big. That's crazy. And what year? Hold on, what year is this from?
I want to say like 99.
99.
Yeah, 1998.
Oh, okay.
Wow, okay. That's crazy. Damn, man, I didn't even know about that, man.
Yeah, son was doing the rope-a-dope.
Oh man, that's the Heartbreaks, man.
Yeah, because you had the fucked up part was you had Jamie Foxx and Don King saying, "Yo, Sticky, you got to get up out of there."
Yo, I can't wait to watch this tonight. This is pure comedy.
Oh yeah, you gonna get a good laugh.
Okay, you gonna bug out, yo.
Because how can you come back from that, son? Like you can't be on no rah-rah after. There
was no more albums after that. I don't think. No, he did drop his album after that, didn't he?
I don't know. Porsche, when did that album that y'all love? When did that drop? Was that like
the autobiography of Kirk Jones?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I would have to look it up. 1999.
All right, so I guess he did come back from it then.
But
I guess at the end of the day, maybe a lot of.
How many people talk about that album?
Yeah, but I nobody's talking about him getting knocked out by a white boy either. So I don't know. That was some Men in Black magic he did to make people forget about it. JR, what about you? What's your hip hop and R&B joint?
When Big passed, that I'll never forget where I was when I heard it. That's Brooklyn there. That's home. So when he passed, it was just like you kind of like stopped in your tracks for real. And everybody in my house kind of like, because I was with my grandparents actually, because my mom and my uncle and all of them, they was up in New England and they went on a family trip, and we heard it, and it was just like, is this true? You know what I mean? And then it was kind of heartbreaking because it was like, we got one album. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got one album from this dude. He's about to come out with Life After Death, but it's like, we got one album from this dude. So this is all we're gonna get. We can get a little bit of conspiracy, the couple of features that he's on and all this kind of stuff. But what else are we gonna get? You know what I mean? So that kind of hurt.
And what's your R&B joint?
This one is gonna be in 1996. This hurt me when the breakup of Mary and Puff, because I was worried. Because as a Mary fan, I was like, what is she gonna do? This has been her. You know what I mean? Like, as a fan, it's like those two was together. So when you heard that they weren't working with each other no more, it was like, well, where's she gonna go? Chucky blessed her. Like, she's part of that. So who's she gonna work with? You know what I mean? The only one you knew that she worked with was Babyface, and it was like, okay, but where is she gonna go? I was just like, oh, like what we gonna do? And we are now in 2022, and she just released a new album, so we good.
Right. I guess we're good.
It's fire, by the way.
Watch it. I caught that. Watch it.
I'm not a fan.
It's fire. I like it.
I can't rock with it, bro.
Yeah, Kiko does not like it. I'm not.
I feel like Mary doesn't know which half them songs. That song with Khaled sound like a Beyonce throwaway. Like
that sound like a Rihanna joint. Because you see, she just came out was like she wanted to feature the joint with Rihanna. I was like, duh. I'm like, that's
the last Mary album I love. I love the last joint with Jasmine Sullivan with the pen.
Oh, right, on the pen.
Yeah, I think Strength of a Woman, I love that. But I mean, it's all good. Shorty been in the game 30 years, dog. Like,
right.
She's a legend, she's an icon, all that stuff.
But in
my next, what happened? Yeah,
Jasmine Sullivan, she a beast.
She's the pen in the game, if you ask me.
You ain't lying.
I just heard the deluxe version of the Hotels joint.
Listen.
Oh my goodness. Bruh. Yeah. Well, Philly, Philly is just on a whole nother.
Well, here's the thing. We can always talk about Philly all day, brother. Do tell. What would you like to talk about? What would you like to talk about Philly for, brother? We can talk about Philly all day long, man.
Philly, I mean, Teddy Pendergrass, Jasmine, I mean, the list goes on, man. Like, Philly is just full of talent, and it always has been. One of my favorite MCs is from Philly. So
who's that?
Tariq Trotter.
I understand. Black Thought, my number 2. I get you. I ain't mad at that. Yeah, we gotta bring you in for next time we do another Philly episode.
No doubt.
My number 3 joint is Nipsey dying. That death really fucked me up, man. Because Nipsey. I became a fan of Nipsey the man before I became a fan of the music. I heard about the things he was doing in the hood with the STEM centers for the kids and everything that he was doing in LA. And everybody, of course, knows I've been working in teen centers and working with teens in the hood of DC for the past 22 years. So it's just like, I remember that day I was leaving the house and I was watching YouTube. It was him and Lauren London doing one of them GQ things where they're like, how much do you know about me type thing. And I've never done that whole I fuck with celebrity couples, but I fucked with Nipsey and Lauren. Like, I was like, they seem like a cool ass couple. They seem like they'd be chill as hell to just hang out with. So I'm watching and I pause it because my man was having the anniversary dinner at his crib. So I was like, I'm gonna come back later and finish this. And I'm at the dinner and my phone is blowing up and I'm just like, like that's crazy. And it also made me move differently out here in these hoods in DC because I'm like, damn, Nip got murdered in his hood, like outside his store. Like, I've always kept an account. I don't care how much love niggas show me out here in the streets in DC. I'm from Philly. Like, I'm not from here. I'm still an outsider. And it just made me move differently. It made me watch what comes out my mouth to my teens. It made me watch how I talk to certain people because I gotta understand that at any moment somebody could just be like, fuck kill. You know what I mean? One of my young boys was disrespecting one of my girls. I pulled him up, roughed him up a little bit or whatever. And God put on my heart the next day, like, go apologize to Shorty. And the thing is I know his older brother, and his older brother packed guns all the time. So he could have easily went home, got a gun, came back, like, fuck that nigga kill. I'm gonna show him. He putting his hands on me and in front of other people, and I had to pull him aside, like, bro, I apologize. I ain't mean to, do whatever. I just can't have you disrespecting, the shorties like that. We kind of talked it out, but if Nipsey didn't die, I probably don't. I'm still being the same kill wherever I go. So it made me move differently. So that definitely Nipsey. And another thing about Nipsey I love is his interviews just motivated you. You know what I mean? Like anytime, like I'd be like, yo, I don't even need Nipsey to talk about the music, bro. Just talk. Like on some old, just like listen to him talk. Just always gives me the oomph to keep, pushing further. On the R&B side, that time JoJo, in case he was performing and JoJo just fell out on stage, that one, it was just like, yo, this is where, like, damn, like I love Jodeci. As many times as me and that man right under me have battled for years about Jodeci versus Boys II Men, I love Jodeci. So to see JoJo just like fall out on stage and Casey damn near ain't paying him no attention, it was just like, damn, like,
hey
man,
man,
this where we at?
I was pleasantly surprised last Sunday. Jodeci rocked. I ain't gonna lie. They surprised me.
Yeah, we going to the show here in DC at the end of March. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But that was definitely a heartbreaking moment because I fucked with Jodeci hard body, and to see him like go out like that, it was like, damn. Porsche, what you got up next?
When I realized, or I guess, I don't know, this is so heartbreaking for me. Pete and CL are no longer going to be making albums together. That they are probably like the best chemistry couple duo in hip hop for me. Sorry.
Now you're gonna spread rumors about Pete and CL.
No, a duo. God, it's just me. But anyways, that to me was super heartbreaking because when you consider not only like the albums that they had together, the two being like to me they're back-to-back 5 mics classic. It's just easy to assume that had they continued at least for even like 3 more years or 2 more years or 2 more albums or whatever, that it would have kind of continued on that same trajectory. And I just, again, like their chemistry is almost unmatched. The tracks that they have are, not only are they classic, but they're like just beyond anything. Like they're so timeless, they're so impactful, they're so revered. They're referenced all the time, like Straighten It Out, The Creator, Troy, like all of these things, and CL's part of that too, and yes, Pete Rock has continued on to do very great things, of course, and CL's kind of linking up with people now and posting about it and stuff like that, which is dope, but no one will ever kind of be Pete and CL, and that was very, very heartbreaking for me, just as a fan of both. So
it's funny because I always felt shortchanged because I felt like Pete and Preem kind of like were like very similar. You know what I mean? Like, Pete had CL, Preem had Guru. They had their groups together. Preem had Group Home and J-Roo. Pete had D-Dye and I. Like, and it just felt like the Pete side of things we got, short-slided by the whole deal with Elektra, then the I and the D-Dye getting shelved, and we're not getting that. And, I'm looking at like, damn, yeah, we did get 5 Gangstar albums, only the 2 Pete and CL albums, you know what I mean? And just how much dope of a legacy would they have had if we had 5 Pete, Rock, and CL Smooth albums? I mean, they're the one group who to this day, I'm always a component of like, yo, I like people working together in the studio. I just feel like Pete beats are just so crazy that he could just send CL 50, like, nigga, just pick whatever you want.
I know.
And, just record whatever the fuck you want to record, and it would just sound magical. You know what I mean? Amir, I know you can't really speak too much on that situation. I see you smiling, but at the end of the day, I feel you. It is definitely heartbreaking that we never got.
And again, Pete is, CL's dope, and he's fine, and Pete's dope, and he's fine, and he's linked up with obviously Amir, which is, again, Amir's one of my favorite MCs out right now. So it's just one of those things where no one's doing bad. It's just we know how good those two are together too,
Right. And I think the bad part for me, at least, was the constant, it may happen. Like, there was a time when they was going on tour together, and it was like, yes, they're speaking. Like, because I think there was a time when CL was like, yo, just F word, make my beats or something like that. Or, like it was all of that. So it's like, damn, you know what I mean? And then it'd be like, oh, but they're on tour together. Yes. And then it'd be like, no, but they're not doing it. It's like, oh, like, I always tell people I don't do good with emotional roller coasters. Like, if y'all not rocking with each other, let me know y'all not rocking with each other. And I can move on. But it's the constant, oh no, it's like a kid wanting their parents to get back together. It's like you wake up one morning and dad's home. You're like, oh shit, dad's back. I'm like, no, you just smashed. All right, you leaving again. All right, cool. I'll see you in 2 years. Like that whole emotional roller coaster of it. But Amir?
Can't speak on it.
Nah, it's not that I can't. It's not that I can't speak on. It's not that I can't, man. I know both. And CL was the one. The funny thing, CL introduced me to Pete years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the crazy part. I think as men, you have. There were a lot of things that happened happened within the 4 square miles of Mount Vernon that the media doesn't know about, right? And I think that could have possibly compromised the fiber of a working relationship outside of what they had versus what they could get together and do, because his voice over that production, is unmatched, right? Let's be clear. But I don't think it's an issue of them not being able to work together. I think it's just, as time passes and, you got 2 grown men now that are at a certain stage in their life, and, how can I put it?
Things change.
Not even. I don't think it's a thing about plans changing. I just think it's just, I'm trying to put it in a way. You just have things that happen, man. Some things that you just
can't get past.
You can't rinse or wash over. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, so,
yeah.
And because things that were said publicly and also things that were said privately.
Right.
But the people who know what was said publicly, what was said, and right, and things that were said privately, if you don't know, then you just don't know. But it's not one of those things that you can just glaze over and be like, yo, let's get in the studio, right?
Right.
So
Brett made a good point. He was on here once, and I was saying with hip hop breakups, I don't get it. Like, you can have these law firms that, Jacoby and Myers, and the 2 families probably hate each other. Like, yo, why can't we? But Brad made a good point. He was like, yo, Killer, keep it a buck. Black folk, we're relational. You know what I mean? It's hard for us to do business with one another if we don't fuck with one another. Like, maybe white folk can do that with no problem. Right. And I'm like, Brett, great point. I never thought about it like that. You're 100% right. Like, if me and Vern are making billions together, but I screw him over, it's like, well, yeah, like, I can't work with Kill no more. I can't trust him, so I'll just make billions instead of billions. So that just put a whole lot of things into perspective for me, that you're 100% right, that it's hard for us to gloss over you saying something to me or doing something to me. It's easy for us as fans to be like, come on, get back in the studio, like, get past what he said. But it's like, nah, nigga, you ain't get past what your pop said to you last year. But you telling me to get over something else. But nigga, you got your shit with your family, or with your friends.
That's a fact. It's almost equivalent to Dr. Dre when he had Snoop, right? Nobody ever thought Dr. Dre never found another Snoop, but he found the Game, and he found the Kendrick, and he found the Eminem. So that's how I kind of look at the whole Pete and CL thing. Now, you'll never find another CL Smooth. That timestamp in hip hop will never be replicated, right? But it doesn't mean that you won't have other people to get with, a Pete and make incredible music for that time, right? So I think
21 grams exists, so yeah, we know that.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it, but but Dope Boy Soul, that's all I'm gonna say.
It's coming. We know it's coming good, brother. Yeah. Jamil,
I need a date.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I need a date for the drop of Dope Boy Soul.
Well, we got to take it easy. We got the drop for Peace Instrumentals, so we got that coming. You know what I mean?
31st.
Yeah, March 31st. So we got that coming, and prayerfully, Dope Boy Soul will be, You know,
I have people tweet me every day about that.
I was
Pizza
on the
Middles
phone with a
for-
man the other day, and I was like, bro, one of my niggas just hit me like, yo, when is the man album with Pete coming out? I'm like, bro, you know, just keep bumping.
I'll tell you,
I was like, yo, just keep bumping 21 grams, my nigga. Like, yo, so you know.
Now we got another tape we're working on in between. I think we may possibly drop another like a 5 or 7 song EP, like right before we go into the album. You know, to kind of, you know, keep people at interested in the project. You just can't drop right now because 21 grams won't. The lifespan of it won't ride into Dope Boy Soul. So we're gonna have to have a new, better music. Anyway, the way today's market is set up, that's a fact.
No doubt, no doubt. Jamil, what's your next hip hop heartbreak, good brother?
Man, you know, I don't want to say you stole my joint, but we were on the same wavelength. I gotta say it too. I'm gonna say Nipsey again. And the crazy thing about it, how I found out, I was at my first Wu-Tang concert. Crazy, right? From Staten Island, never seen them perform.
Wow.
First Wu-Tang concert, and I found out, you know, they announced it on stage that he had gotten shot, and then maybe like 20 minutes later, they said he had passed away.
Wow.
But the crazy thing about it, it was so bittersweet because, you know, here it is my heroes is on the stage and phenomenal show, and then I find out about this young brother passing away, you know, who I admired, you know, not only for the music but just his business sense, the way he spoke, you know what I'm saying? Like I was really digging Nipsey on a level. But you know, what really kind of broke my heart was like Ghost was up there and he was just like he you know, they stopped the music and he just was like, yo, he was like on some grandpa type shit, like, yo, what's wrong with y'all? Why y'all gotta stop this, man? Like, this man died in his own hood. Like, we gotta stop this. Like, to the point where he was almost seemed like he was in tears, you know what I mean? Talking to the crowd, like, yo, we gotta do better. You know what I'm saying? That was heartbreaking, man, to just be there and you know and just hear that about that man getting his life taken, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I feel you, bro. I feel that definitely. I've been here. I always tell folks I've been here for all the hip hop deaths, man, and that one definitely hit home for me the most out of everybody. Vern, what about you, bro? What you got?
All right, I'm gonna do a combo platter. On my wall. Let me move out the way. Tribe is another one of my all-time favorite groups. I never got to see them live. But a combination of that, Jack the Rapper, the first Jack the Rapper I went to, I saw Fife, and it was like,
please, Vern, for the younger generation, what is Jack the Rapper?
Jack the Rapper was a convention where like all the labels sent all their artists, they broke, you know, new artists, and then put out, you know, the next albums they were gonna drop. It was a convention held in Atlanta every year. And we were down at the warehouse, and I was like, yo, that's Fife. And it was crazy to me. I'm like, this is one of my heroes, and I see him. And so fast forward, this was maybe 7-8 years ago at One Music Fest. Fife was one of the hosts, and I got to top with him for about 5 minutes and just tell him how much I appreciated him and what he did with Tribe and all that stuff. So the morning, I'm in the bed and I'm headed to a funeral, and I get the news that Fife died, and man, I'm laying in the bed crying, man. I mean, my wife was like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Man, Fife is gone," and it hit me. I think that one hit me more than Mike, because that was like one of my contemporaries, and so that's heartbreak for me. Yeah.
I hate anytime my phone is blowing up.
Yep.
I'm always worried. You know what I mean? Like if there's too many texts, tweets, phone calls coming, The only time it hasn't been a death is when we traded Ben Simmons. Like that, I think that right there was the eclipse of my T-Mobile bill. Like I probably get an extra 100 put onto my bill just for how much stuff was coming through. But anytime my phone is going off, like I don't even want to even bother with it. You know what I mean?
You're right, because my brother is the one who hit me on text. Like, you heard what happened to fight? Like, no, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know, so I definitely feel you on that. Amir, what's another hip hop heartbreak for you, good brother?
Damn, yo. When I saw, Baby kissing Wayne on the mouth, bro. I'm that guy tonight. I'm that guy tonight. You hear me?
Yo.
Hip hop is done.
Nah, but I feel you because
Guess what I feel you.
no, I mean because that's what we talked about earlier. These were the things that let me know that the streets is done. Like, you know what I mean? Like that nobody cares. Like I don't care if Rakim wrote I Know You Got Soul, My Melody. If there was a picture of Rakim in 1988 fucking kissing Eric B, it's a rap. I don't care what you wrote. I don't care who you are.
Done.
You're done. You know what I mean?
The
And when I
reason
saw
why-
people capping for him, like, yo, but that's his dad. I'm like, well, number one,
nigga.
it's not.
It's not his dad.
Number two,
And I ain't kissing my dad in the damn mouth. Are you kidding me?
I can even remember. So,
Nah,
you
dog.
know, the defense of it was just like, yo, Streets is dead. Streets is dead, man. Like, they just are. Because nobody cares anymore. Because I want to say it was Gilly who leaked that. Because I know him and Wayne was going back and forth. And I know in Gilly's mind, he's like, this is the big joke. This is going to take this nigga out. His career is done. And I know 50 felt the same way with the Ross thing. Like, yo, boom, big joke. It got the picture of you. You a CO. Rick Ross like, nah, I ain't no CO. Then he's like, oh, shit. Yeah, guess, y'all caught me. I was a CO. You know what I mean? And nobody cared. It was just like, okay, cool, no problem. Where I'm like, dog, can I do PR for y'all rappers? Because I easily would have been like, Ross, just flip it like, yeah, I was a CO. I was the nigga bringing the coke in and woo, woo, woo. You could have flipped that. You know what I mean? You seriously, like, nigga, we could have ran with that. Like, I'm a people hire me.
He said
Wow.
we could have ran with that.
I will make your
I was bringing the balloons in and all of that.
Exactly. We can fix it. I find that challenging. Like, I love a good challenge. I love when I walk into a school and the principal be like, man, fuck Mr. Kilpatrick. Principals have said that shit to me, and I'm like, no problem. I'm gonna get through to you, shorty. Like, I don't know what your beef is with me, but that's like a challenge to me. So yeah, like, yo, we can work through this. Ross, you was a CO? All right, let's flip it like this. This nigga was like, nah, I ain't no CO. A month later, he's like, all right, fuck it, I was CO, I lied. And nobody cared. Like, it's just like, yo, how do you do that? And that's just let me know. So I'm with you 100% on that. Man,
Nah,
because
it was bugged out. It was bugged out to me. I felt like it ain't my business what somebody's sexual preference is, but this wasn't even about a sexual preference. This
right.
was
And everybody, thank you for saying that, man. This is nobody. This has nothing to do with nobody. I don't want that
about
Dave Chappelle smoke.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah. Now, this is not about, sexual, beliefs or stance. To me, it was about somebody you allegedly looked at as a father that is not biologically your pop, kissing you in the mouth. Like, I mean, he could have kissed you on the cheek, the forehead, on some mobster shit. But I think when it and remember, for a very long time, bro, that was a hot topic for a while. But it was definitely heartbreaking because you looked at Cash Money as like they was hard or something. Like, they had some of the hardest records for a second. They was on some gangster shit, and when I saw that, it was kind of like. My forehead rings. I was confused, like, and I didn't know what to think. I was really just sitting there, like, yo, that's bugged out. That's like you said. I was like, yo, that's some bugged out shit right there, bro. Like that's his pops. And when you talking, like, you talk crazy on your records. You be talking about like that's crazy. It was just crazy to me. That's like imagine Jay-Z kissing Man Bleak on the mouth. That's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
That's real.
Hey, man.
That's my son. That's my son.
Yeah,
I'm laughing.
And I mean, if kiss the ring or kiss the hand or some mom shit or whatever, like.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bug. That's why it was heartbreaking, man. For real, bro. It was crazy.
the Boondocks.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
or even when Flex put out the Drake joint, the reference verse. Like Flex really thought that was, again, this is the death blow. I'm gonna show y'all this nigga don't even write his rhymes. And again, nobody.
That helped them.
Nobody. Yeah, like it's just the fact that nobody cares anymore. But I think it ties back to Portia's piece about the culture. You're not learning about the culture, because if all you know is the music, then you really don't tie into the whole piece of hip hop being a culture, not just being a genre. So this is why I get into so many debates with the young boys about, well, what do it matter if you write your own rhymes or not? Because Boys the Men don't write their songs. And the second somebody goes to the R&B side, that just lets me know that we ain't cut from the same cloth. You know what I mean? Because they two totally different things.
Exactly. Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that that's the piece that with the whole piece of the culture, it was supposed to be about. What did Chris say? Rap is something you do. Hip hop is something you live. You know, and the problem is that there's more people now living rap than they're living hip hop. You know what I mean? So that's why it wouldn't have floated in our days, because we knew hip hop. We was raised on hip hop. That's why this new generation, I think, really don't care about the rules. It'd almost be like, imagine if there was no more double dribble rules, or you could walk in the NBA. You know, us old heads be like, that nigga just took 8 damn steps. The other generation would be like,
we getting there.
You know, it's not a rule no more. So
we getting there.
That nigga don't got.
Yo, hey, that's that James Harden step back 7, step back 3.
Yeah, we getting there.
Right. You know what I mean? The Euro step. I remember when that first came, they'd be like, wait a second, is that a, you know what I mean? Or when Iverson first came in the league, and they was trying to call him for palming the ball with the crossover. So, you know, it is what it is. So I feel you on that a minute. JR, what's the next one?
Well, I was gonna say the one with Vern as far as hip hop when Fife passed. That was like my childhood was like, because I mean Tribe is all my dad played, so I just remember him going on Atlantic Avenue to get, you know, Low End Theory. I remember him going on Atlantic Avenue to get Midnight Marauders. Like I remember when he actually went and got Beats, Rhymes, and Life, when he got that. So it was like, that was just, it hit a little harder than normal. You know what I mean? Like I actually put that up there with Biggs, to be honest, for me, because of what Fife meant to my childhood, to be honest. So that one. And when it comes to R&B, to be honest, when R&B stopped being really mainstream, that's...
Now, what's your definition of mainstream? What do you mean?
When we started getting, when it was, you know, R&B wasn't really the focus anymore. Like, it was all hip-hop now. Okay. And it was like, now you got... Y'all remember a time when rappers wanted a singer on the hook. Now, you got a rapper that is singing on the hook using auto-tune. Like, to me, that it ain't it anymore. It's like y'all really trying to downsize R&B like it doesn't even exist. And then to think about it, you think about what they did to jazz. You know what I'm saying? Like now they thinking like Kenny G is the person you think about when it comes to jazz, and it's like, no, you gotta be kidding me, right? You know what I mean? So when that happens, I was like, to me as an R&B lover, I was like, oh, this will never happen. I'm good. Even when R&B and hip hop kind of, you know, when it came to Mary and all that, putting it together, I was like, oh yeah, we good. But when it came to like 2005, and it was like, what the hell is this?
But you know, man, it's funny. I think Fame said like rappers want to be actors and ball players. Like everybody want to be what the other person is. So all the ball players want to be rappers, and rappers want to be actors, and singers want to be rappers, but rappers want to sing now. And like nobody's just playing their lane no more. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what it is.
You know,
and it bothered me. It's like, yo, we want a singer on the hook. That's what made the hook. When you got somebody like a Brian McKnight on I'll Take Her, it was dope.
Now scratch, yeah, hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was dope. You can't even do that now. Now it's like Eli Scratch is gonna do the hook too. Like no, like it's whack to me. And then it just seems that's the case. They just trying to push R&B down and down and down. And then when somebody different comes out, again, I'm pushing it that way to like the Adeles and the Sam Smiths and all this. They're the R&B saviors. It's like, No.
But you know what, bro? I always come back and I challenge us to try, us OGs, us old heads, to try to do better, to find a way to reach the younger kids. And I'm not saying that we're not doing it. You know,
Right.
what you and Elise do are great. This podcast
Right.
is great. But I mean,
Right.
even finding some of these people to pour into, because here's the thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Our generation, if hip hop didn't sample jazz, 90% of people that are my age wouldn't know shit about jazz.
That's
If
true.
we keeping it a buck.
That's
If
true.
we keeping it a buck. When nobody
That's
know who fucking God, y'all know my brain. Ron Carter. When nobody know who Ron Carter
Right,
was.
right.
If Q-Tip didn't say Ron Carter on the bass, if that you take that one line out, you erase that line, and nobody's reading a line of notes. Nobody knows who Ron Carter is.
Right.
So
That's
our
right.
generation got into jazz, especially as a producer, because it was like, oh, this is what we sampled, or because it was diggable. So again, we've got to find a way to help this new generation, you know, come in. Because there was a time when niggas my age would be like, yo, I'm going to a jazz show. And I'm like, yo, that's dope, but let's keep it a buck. You only going because you fuck with Tribe. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't nobody going to no jazz shows before Tribe. And the average person who's my age now ain't going to no jazz show. You know what I mean? Because now jazz hip hop is played out. You know what I mean? So we've got to find a way to be able to, like what you were saying, like how they did jazz. We have to find a way to pass that on to the next generation. We have to find a way. And I don't know if this generation is doing it, because you can have, say, Kendrick is sampling Janet's Anytime, Any Place for his joint off of Good Kid, Mad City. But I don't know if this new generation is like, oh, okay, what's that? Oh, that's Janet? Okay, let me go listen to Janet's album. You see what I'm saying?
But that was the difference of what we did and what they're doing now. Like back then, we didn't disrespect what was now then. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like
I
we
can't
did.
speak for nobody. I'll speak for myself. My mother's a jazz musician. I ain't want to hear shit she had to play until Tribe came out.
Okay.
So I'm not saying I represent everybody, you know, but I'm saying in my house, all I wanted to hear was hip hop. I grew up around jazz rehearsals 24/7, ain't care about nothing until I heard Low End Theory. And I'm like, Mom, who is Ron Carter? And she's like, you mean a picture of me and this guy who's been on the piano for 20 fucking years? Like, I didn't even know my mother knew him. So what made jazz dope to me was the fact that Tribe made it cool, that it was cool.
Right, but they're not doing that now. See,
right, but that's what I'm saying.
He's saying create a space for us.
We've got to find a way to make it cool. We've got to find a way.
I got you.
And we gotta let them. And we gotta let them do them too, man. That's another. Thing. A lot of, you know what I like about Amir. You know, one time I was in his live and he was talking to a young man. He had to be like in his 20s or something. You know what I'm saying?
Amir, right here. Or are you talking about?
Yeah, Amir.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about Amir. Yeah. You know, and I think that's what we need to do. Even though we may not dig 100% what they doing, or you might dig what they doing, but you know, just being supportive. Like a lot of times, it's like, you know, we could be them grumpy old men or old women. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that shit trash, and you know what I mean. Just let them live, man. Let them experiment. It's kind of like a baby, you know. Just let them do what they do, you know. Sit in the high chair and fiddle around with the, you know, with the food.
See,
and
I
like that.
agree.
And make they mess. Let them make they mess. You know, it's like we made our mess.
And see, I agree to an extent, but I think the thing for when we was coming up, what we was doing was from the heart. A lot of what this new generation is doing is coming from a place of we want to make money. So you doing auto-tune, I do auto-tune. You sound like her, I sound like her. You sound like Summer Walker, I'm gonna sound like Summer Walker. You sound like Bryson Tiller, I'm gonna sound like Bryson Tiller. So the thing that we did was it came from a place of pureness. Let me stop, because I'm a horrible rapper. So I was about to say I never tried to sound like nobody. I tried to sound like everybody. I apologize. But most good rappers, you know, were trying to find themselves, and they were trying to do what they do. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, I want this generation to live, but I also think that one of the things that probably made our generation dope was, I always say it on here, we were kidnapped as kids. We listened to everything that our parents listened to. This new generation gets to listen to what they want to. If I would have had a pair of Beats by Dre in 1984, I would have never heard Anita, Luther, Freddie, Stephanie Mills, Shaka Khan, because I would have had my headphones on just listening to nothing but Beastie Boys, LL, Run DMC, all that stuff. I would have never learned about Duran Duran and the Eurythmics and all these other great genres of music that this generation isn't privy to because they can just put on their headphones and that's it. We grew up in a time when there was one stereo in the house. Now everybody in the house has a different pair of headphones on. You know, you go to the average house, there is no stereo.
Do you think if back then, if you would have knew the business more, because it seems like now this generation knows more of the business than the art.
Here's the crazy thing, JR. Do they? Because I swear Meg is saying she got jerked. I swear everybody who's like is still talking about getting jerked. And I'm like, how are you getting jerked? Like, shit, you got YouTube channels that will explain to you if you don't want to read the book. So, again, me and Vern say it all the time. I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but if in 2022 you get jerked, you wanted to get jerked. Because all the information is there.
Yeah. Like, we got 5 seasons of Unsung.
Right.
You know, you can get this telling you in 1991 record companies are shady, which he probably recorded in 1990, so he's probably 17 years old. Yeah, I expect a 17-year-old to get jerked. Naomi is 16. Do I think Naomi can sign a recording contract right now? Probably not.
But the industry is always going to win. That's what they say.
I mean, it can win. I think it's about just coming on with more of your shirt, coming out of the deal with more of your shirt than you win it. You know what I mean? You're always going to lose something, but you just don't want to lose everything. You may lose some of your publishing. You don't want to lose all of your publishing. You want to, you know, so, and again, it's just, again, in that.
But we wasn't focused. I don't think we were focused about that back then. I think it was more of the art then.
No. It was always the art, but that's one of the reasons why we got jerked, because it was like, we're all thinking art. We're just happy to get this record deal. None of us really have lawyers. Our parents probably don't know nothing about record deals and lawyers. Nobody had money to get a lawyer to look over this contract.
That's true.
I challenge people when the New Edition movie came out, everybody's on Twitter like, oh, they dumbasses, they ain't read their contract. I'm like, you motherfuckers don't read your iPhone contracts. When they do the update, except you, Porsche. We know you read the contract. The rest of us,
I was about to say not Porsche.
I read PlayStation contracts before I agree to anything. I do.
Right. Like, she really does. So, like, but the rest of us to see new update on the iPhone, boom, do it. Whatever. I don't care. You're taking my information. You're stealing my bank card. You're using my license.
100%.
Yeah. And we don't do it. So how are we going to get mad at somebody for not reading? And most people have never seen a recording contract. Contracts for me doing beats, I had one that was 35 pages for one beat. So imagine how long a record contract is. You know what I mean? So again, all that to just say, I agree. We have to let them do them. I just wish it came from a place of being pure, and not from a place of, because there was a time when hip hop was not a way out the hood. You know what I mean? Now it is a viable option to get out the hood. Like Big said, either you got slinging white rock or you got a wicked jump shot. That was what, 1994 when he said that? He did not mix hip hop into that sentence. You know, it's either you do this or you do that. Now you have hip hop, which you can do now, which is a viable outcome. People are making millions of dollars, but it may not come from the heart because you're doing it to make money. So you're going to do what you have to do to make money versus just doing what you want to do because you love it.
Exactly.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
we going in order though, right? Because I think I have the worst one of all.
No. You just said the Kiss and Wayne. You said Wayne, and then we went to JR.
Oh yeah, my bad. My next one is crazy.
All right, let's get around real quick so we can. The thing that breaks my heart about hip hop, people talk about one-hit wonders, and they talk about people like Bismarck, and they talk about people like Dr. Fett, and they
not
talk
knowing
about
the
like
history.
Camp Flow, as one-hit wonders. You know what I mean? And that breaks my heart that people look at Bismarcky, who is a certified hip-hop legend, from being one of the original beatboxers to having a 5-mic album and going off, for being part of the Juice Crew, for, you know, everybody that he put on and everything for the game, to really, for people to say all he had was that song, Just a Friend. You know what I mean? And that's heartbreaking for me to know that somebody of business legacy is thought of by some people as just that dude who had just a friend. And I hated Just a Friend. Like, I was never a fan of that song. So it's just crazy that when you do call him a one-hit wonder, you're not calling him a one-hit wonder for the Vapors or Nobody Beats the Biz or, you know, anything picking boogers or
Biz is going off.
Yeah, Biz is going off. You're saying this off of just
you're saying that out of ignorance. And you should shut up.
Same thing with Das. When I'm on the timeline and people like, oh, Das was a one-hit wonder, and I'm like, nigga, you fucking bugging? Like, I know the second album. I know me and Dre are the only two people in the world who like Straight Up Suicide, but I love Straight Up Suicide. Hold It Down to me would have been a 5-mic album if they ain't have a million songs on there. They cut it down from like 27 to 14. But to say Das is a one-hit wonder, I mean, off of just They Want Effects, I'm like, yo, you still got real hip hop. You still got the Pete Rock remix for real hip hop. You still got No Diggity. Like you. So when I posted Camp Blow this past week and somebody said that about them, like all they had was Lucchini, and I'm like, bro, they've had 5 albums out, 3 EPs. Like, yo, I'll send you my best to Camp Blow. So like you said, Vern, it's out of ignorance, but I just hate the fact that these like hip hop, huge people in hip hop, you know, I would call Das a legend. That whole Diggity, these niggas invented a whole style.
A whole
like,
new
you know,
style.
the fact that, you know, that these hip hop legends are just looked at as one-hit wonders, and it's not just by the masses; it's by us. Like, that's the part that hurts. Like, I don't care if VH1 calls Biz a one-hit wonder, but when black folk are calling people one-hit wonder who claim they love hip hop, I'm like, that hurts. What's up, Vern?
Yeah. Can I add to your list?
Yeah,
and this shout out to Staten Island niggas, man. Fruits of Nature.
Oh, man,
UMC.
come on, UMC.
That's one of the best hip hop. That's one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. And they were on. Somebody was on. That dude who always talk over all his guests and do blow horns and all that stuff.
Right.
And they was like, them blue cheese niggas. Hey man, bro. Do the knowledge. That's all I got to say. Yeah.
Right. Well, you see, he talked about Shaheem and got pulled up real quick. So, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And then had Shaheem on the show. So
that part.
So you see that. So that's it for R&B. Bobby Brown's Heartbreak, man. Just the fact of losing his daughter, Bobby Christine, in 2000.
Yeah.
Losing Whitney, I know it's the ex-wife, but
still
Whitney. To a drug overdose in 2012. Bobby Christina to a drug overdose in 2015. Losing his son Bobby Jr. to a drug overdose in 2021. It's a blessing that man is still standing.
Man, listen.
It's a blessing that man can get out of bed every day. Huh? Oh yeah, like Freeway. Like, it's a blessing that I can't imagine losing 2 of your children to a drug overdose. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't. So when people want to talk shit about Bob, like, oh, that nigga fat on the verses, yo, let's be glad that nigga is breathing. Let's be glad that man hasn't taken his life. Let's be happy that this dude is still here. Because I don't know where I would be mentally if I lost two of my kids.
I'll be a puddle.
You know, like what about Free? Seeing Free on Instagram, and if you follow him, you'll see him having a good time, and then you'll see him posting something like he's dying inside right now.
Yeah,
you know, and it's heartbreaking to see because that's a pain that's never going to go away. Like, you know, and losing both his children so young, you know, so
that's crazy.
Yeah, and again, if you followed Free, I mean, he would show you his daughter. You would see Harmony like coming from her treatments and seeing things like that. So it's like, you know, you kind of, you know, I always tell people with the show, people gravitate, I think, a lot of times to us on the timeline because if you watch people every day, like I'm sure if I ran into Stephen A. Smith, I'd probably give him a pound like I know him. Like, but because I've been watching him every day on First Take for the past 10 years, you know what I mean? So seeing Harmony and seeing Free and seeing all those things, and then it's just, you know, to lose, to see that she's not here anymore, like that's heartbreaking. I mean, so yeah, definitely. So that was mine. Porsche, what's your number 4, John?
Losing Pac. I mean, it's just, I mean, we did a Twitter Spaces saluting Pac on the anniversary of, I think, All Eyes on Me or something, or but anyways, it's because of just the attention to speaking out and making it a point to bring up things that other people didn't want to bring up that were important to the culture, you know, the Black population, just all of that stuff. And I just think of all the people we've lost some tremendous people over the years, but Tupac was one of those larger than life people that just that death to me was, we lost in so many areas. We lost in the art, we lost in the poet, we lost in the actor, we lost in the philosopher, we lost in the, you know, speaker, we lost in all of these things, and there will never be another, you know, and it's just one of those things that you just sort of never get over. I don't think a single day goes by that I don't think about, I mean, a lot of other MCs too, like Big, obviously, but there's not a single day that goes by that I don't think, especially with what's going on in the world, especially these last 2 years, that, you know, like, fuck, if Pac was here, you know, if right. Pac was just alive, like if Pac had Twitter, if Pac had, you know, like just a lot of things that we miss out on because he's not here anymore. And I think he was such a voice, and he was a magnetic voice. So that just drew people in, you know. It's just one of those things. I rewatch old, you know, interviews because there's always gems. He's always saying something of value, something that you can take away, you know, take away with now, like this many years later. It's just, yeah, that's one of the most heartbreaking losses that I've experienced in hip hop. So.
No doubt. Jamil, what you got, good brother? Jamil, you muted.
Oh, my bad. I'm sitting here talking, and I'm muted the whole time. Wow. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm gonna take it to R&B. I'm gonna say Phyllis Hyman when we lost her. You know, that was such a dark such a dark day, man. That was a dark one. Yeah, that was a really dark one. I remember finding out about her death, and that hit me, man. Because, you know, my mother, you know how it is, man. You know, black kids in the crib, and moms is playing Phyllis Hyman and Anita Baker and all of that kind of stuff. So I had a connection. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I found out about her death, it hit me. You know, yeah, it hit. You know, yeah, definitely a talent.
Yeah, it's crazy because I was never the biggest Phyllis Hyman fan, but I remember that day. I went over my man Malik's crib, and of course, you remember my man who shot at me, Malik. Who shot at me, Malik? Niggas shot at me. My man Malik, who I'm always arguing with on the timeline.
Yeah.
I went over his crib, and like his mom and like two of her girlfriends were over there, like just heartbroken. Like I'll never forget seeing them at their dining room table. Like it was like a family member had died to them, and it was just like I was like, oh shit! Like, you know, I knew the Living All Alone and, you know, a couple of songs here and there, but just seeing the pain on their faces, it was like, wow, oh shit, like this is real right here. So yeah. I definitely feel you on the Phyllis Hyman tip, man. Definitely feel you on that. Yeah. Vern, what about you, good brother?
All right, and if they ever do a doc on Phyllis Hyman, they need to let Jasmine Sullivan play her. All right, so Sunday, man, New Edition rocked the house.
Now, is it all of them? Is Bob there?
Yeah, every single one of them. Every single one of them rocked the house. And I love how, you know, Bob has issues, so they put him on the end. So, you know, he's doing this, but he ain't got to be doing the pirouettes and all that stuff. So everybody, to a man, killed it. But heartbreaking. When did that BET movie come out?
2017.
All right, so 4 years ago, the bag that New Edition fumbled.
Oh, damn you, Vern! I was gonna say that.
So you had my parents' generation, my generation, my daughter's generation, and my niece and nephew's generation all watching the movie and like, New Edition. They were talking about them and the little guys all going on tour together.
Yeah.
It could have been something epic, but egos get in the way, and they fumble another bag. So that's a heartbreak to me because you had the world in the palm of your hands, and you let it go.
Yeah, that should have been already set up. Like, yo, by the time when the movie ends, tickets go on sale. Like, immediately. Yep. Like, that's already part of the plan. We've already talked to the tour folk. This is already mapped out to, boom. As soon as the credits go off, boom, we on tour.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Kind of, you saw what happened with Dipset and the Lox. It was like, yo, we on tour. Like, immediately after the battle. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they fumbled the bag big time with that. Amir, I can't wait to hear what you about to hit us with.
Well, when I came across this, man, it was crazy, bro. When I saw Big Daddy Kane assed out in the sheets and played playground, dude. Fuck me up, man. Fuck me all the way up. That nigga had his his ass was full of hair. He all in the mirror, like it was crazy, bro. Y'all never saw that?
I never saw it. Well, I saw the joint.
Google it.
The Madonna book. The
Madonna book.
Yeah, I saw that.
Google it.
No, I don't want that.
I'm good. I'm gonna take your word. I'm gonna take your word. I'm good.
I don't want to.
No, listen. It's not nudity, but it's bugged out.
I don't want to see Big
bro.
Daddy Kane's ass, man. It's one of them times when people be like, I don't want to go see the body.
Well, know what?
I just want to remember
Let me
him
tell
as
you
he was.
something. Nah, you need to see this, man.
Long Live the Kane.
Nah, you gotta. He on the bed with a box of chocolates, man, with no shirt on, looking crazy, B. It look crazy. Shit look wild, man.
Big Asiatic, nobody's equal.
Oh, man. It was already bugged to me seeing him at the Don't Curse video shoot. Like, just, you know what I mean? Here's the thing with Kane. I just think Kane wanted to be bigger than hip hop. I think that's what it was. And I think it was the same thing like with Jay. Like, Jay and Ye wanted to be bigger than hip hop at a certain point. You know what I mean? You don't start doing songs with John Bryan or whoever the dude was. Like, you want to be bigger than hip hop. And I think that was Kane. That's why Kane was hyped to get on Quincy Jones' joint. Or he was hyped to do a song with Patti LaBelle. Like, he wanted to be bigger than hip hop. So I think
that's
like,
smooth though. But the hairy butt though, nah.
No. But here's the wild part: if you in your mind think you a sex symbol, maybe you like, yo, fuck it. You know what? Let me do Playgirl. Like, yo, I think I'm a sex symbol, so let me go out. And there wasn't nobody to reel that nigga back in. Like, bro, that's that's not a good move for your career, nigga. When you see Chuck D doing Playgirl, like, nigga, sit your ass down and write another rhyme. Like, nigga, like. There wasn't nobody to pull him back and kind of be like, yo, nigga, chill, like you bugging. But again, God bless the dead, my rap partner Rollo, like, we were watching videos one day and the Bratz, I Want to Give It To You came on. If y'all remember that video, it's like at a mansion.
I wanted to be in that video, yo.
And Rollo was like, yo, Kill, see, that's the video. I want to be at that party. You want to be hanging out with Brand Nubians and punks jump up to get beat down in Diamond D. So, and I'm saying that just to say that there are people like you want to be in different places. You know what I mean? So for Big Daddy Kane, obviously he wanted to be, and he didn't want to be in the same spots that Kool G Rap wanted to be in. You see what I'm saying? He didn't want to be in the same spots that Rakim wanted to be in. He wanted to be hanging out with Madonna, Naomi Campbell, and those type of people. And if you hang out with those type of people, I promise you, you're going to do some wild shit. This goes back to Eddie Murphy Raw when his pop was like, yo, why the fuck you with Danny Terrio? Like, those like, that's why he just kept saying, why are you with Danny Terrio? Like, so when you want to hang with those people, you're going to do some wild shit. So, yeah. But it's sad to see because Kane was my guy. We all know Kane, Rosa Parks for dark-skinned niggas. Like, he was my guy, but yeah. Once he started doing that Playgirl spread and everything else, I'm like, bro, you lost your mind. And keep in mind, he never came back from that stuff.
No.
He was done after that.
Yeah, you know,
It was a done deal.
I want to say that this had to be. Amir, do you remember what year this was? Because I remember in '91 he was on a Juice soundtrack with Enough Respect, and I think like that was Kane's last dope song. I know he had to join How'd You Get a Record Deal and you know that other album and stuff like that, but I really feel like that Enough Respect was like the last time Kane was really the shit type thing. So, JR, what you got for your last one, good brother? I mean, not I know this is the fourth one.
Yeah, but this, I mean, it's gonna be actually when shoot, where am I go with? When Bobby Womack died.
Okay.
That was a heartbreak for me.
Now you have to take me back. For people watching, JR is like a fucking time traveler and all kinds of shit. Cause he's like 28, but this nigga, I don't remember Bobby Womack dying, and I'm 48. Like so,
he died in 2014. He died in 2014.
Walk me through it, good brother. Walk me.
All right, so he is actually part of like the Sam Cooke clique.
Now is he the shady nigga?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he's a shady.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's the boy who got with his wife.
Yes, and bought his suit at Bobby at Sam Cooke.
And did a song about it.
All right, now tell me this. Now I'm intrigued. Why this shady nigga that shady? Why did the death affect you so much? Were you able to?
Because I can care less about personal stuff. Okay. I'm focused on music, and my family focused on music. And to be honest with you, my grandfather had just died like 3.5 years ago. So before then, so it felt like it was like the Sam Cooke clique. It was like that was it. You know what I mean? So it felt like, wow. It was like my grandfather would go from Sam to Johnny Taylor to Bobby Womack, and it felt like, damn, that's it. You know what I mean? Like it's no more. You know what I mean? So my mom actually, I never forget, she gave me the phone call, and I literally had to stop in the neighborhood. I don't even know where the fuck I was at, to be honest. And I stopped in the neighborhood, and I just sat there, and I just bugged out like, yo, this is real. Like, this Sam Cooke clique is done. Like, there's nobody left. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, that was a part of my like life. So it was like, once he was gone, it was like, boom, you know what I mean? And then I did like the fact that everybody was just focused on the music, which should be anyway, even though he was a petty motherfucker, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know, I focused on the music and what I listened to. So that was heartbreaking for me. I had to kind of take a step back for a second and think like, damn.
You know what's bugged for me? It's weird because I guess we all have our places where we kind of cut somebody off at. You know what I mean? Kind of like with Candyman. Like, it took like 20 documentaries, and I still know people who are still capping.
Oh, yeah.
Defending him. You know what I mean? And it's weird for me because I think, like, if I find out, like, you're a fucked up person, like, I can still listen to you. Like Steady B. I'm not at Steady B with Candyman where I don't listen to none of his shit.
Right.
It's hard for me to listen to his music. I'll tell you what's crazy, Portia, I can't wait till we do this show on Dilla. I didn't realize Dilla was such a fucking asshole. Like, that's probably the thing I'm walking away with from this book. And because of that, it's weird, you being an asshole. I don't know. It's hard for me to separate the two. So, not that he's not going to be my number one anymore, but it's just like, for years, I just thought, like, Dilla probably cool as shit. I'm like, yo, he said, what to Raphael Sadiq? Nigga. And nobody put hands on this nigga? Streets is dead, man. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. You ain't coming out your mouth like that to me. Like, type thing. So, I that's the one thing I struggle with. Like, if I find out like you a fucked up individual, it's kind of hard for me to still like your music or whatever like that.
I mean, it did take Bobby a minute to get through. People weren't fucking with him after that.
It's not a good or bad thing. It's just like, for me, I
get it though.
That's hard for me to do. Like, I'm not mad at anybody who can do it. I probably wish I could, but for some reason, it's like, if I find out you an asshole, it's kind of like, I get, you know, because these rappers, these people are like superheroes to me growing up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? They're like, it would be like finding out like Batman is an asshole. Like nigga, like, you know what I mean? Like, you Batman. Like, you gotta be cool. But of course, from doing radio for 10 years in the 90s, I found out a lot of my heroes are assholes. And here's the thing, and it made me look at them a lot differently too. You know what I mean? Like, to me, if you're an asshole to me, I'm not supporting your music no more. I may play it, but nigga, I ain't buying no CD. You ain't getting my hard-earned money like that. You know what I mean? So, you know, like, you know, there's been a lot of people who came up to 889 and I was like, oh, and then I left like, man, fuck that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, never again, or I ain't playing your shit, you know, or whatever like that. The last joint I got is DOC losing his voice in that accident. Because I was still a shorty. This is probably 89 because it's before Niggas for Life. So it's like between 88 and 89. And I'm just like, DOC was probably, it was Kane, Rakim. DOC was top 5 for me in 88, 89, which is hard to say because we just did 88 and you saw how crazy of a year it was. And that's how much I rock with No One Can Do It Better, 5 Mic Classic.
Yeah,
one
he was
of my
nasty.
favorite albums. Yeah, crazy.
Nasty.
And it was just crazy to me, like, yo, you get, and I'd never heard about something like that before. You know, you get in a car accident, you break a leg, you're in a coma, you know, something may have to get amputated, but you lose your voice? Like, I'm like, how does that even happen? Like, how do you get in a car accident and lose your voice? And what's the chances of that happening, that a rapper loses his voice in a car accident, you know, and never sounds the same? And I mean, that was like heartbreaking to me because it was like, we're never going to get a follow-up to No One Can Do It Better. You know what I mean? So kind of how Porsche was like with Pete and CL, we're never getting that other Pete and CL. It was like, yo, we're never getting a follow-up to DOC's No One Can Do It Better. Like, yo, that's heartbreaking, you know. And it took years for that Helter Skelter, I think, or whatever was the name of the album that he did, but that wasn't it. So, you know, that was heartbreaking to me. And then to go back to what Vern was saying, the day Prince died, you know, most people who know me know Prince. Prince is the dopest ever to me. He's the GOAT, you know. So JR called me. Everybody was calling me like, yo, you good? You good? Because it's like everybody knows, like, that is my GOAT right there.
Yeah, I remember that day.
Yeah. Like, so that was it for me. Porsche, what's your last joint, miss?
It's an R&B one.
Right.
It's what's heartbreaking for me in R&B is that current R&B doesn't feel, I don't feel the love like I do in the 90s.
Thank you, Portia. Thank you.
You guys, I know, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff.
Thank you, Portia. Thank you.
Love.
Listen, I do love, and I want love to feel like 90s R&B, but why did it have to stop there? Like, somewhere along the way, and you guys already know who I blame, which I'm not going to mention, it became like weird swearing and like drug use and a lot of really weird things that couples now want to experience with each other, that I'm just like, you guys want to like snort cocaine together, and that's love now? Like, this is like the ballad that you're gonna play for your girlfriend because here's a tray of like a couple lines, like this is what I've got planned for our date. Like, I don't know, it's so confusing to me, and it is heartbreaking for many reasons, but yes, I don't like, and I stopped listening to current R&B. I don't know anybody current at all. I don't know what they sound like, never heard anything, because all I ever listen to if I want R&B is stuff from the 90s and
and if I want to know some new stuff, I just check with JR. If he listens to it,
I don't even check with JR. To be really honest, I am just done.
Portia is like out. She's done.
Honestly, it's just, I will dabble in some current Boyz II Men stuff, and even they aren't really like, you know, I just go back to the 90s. Anyway, so that's a heartbreak for me, is that R&B doesn't feel like, there's no love in R&B anymore, like real love in R&B anymore. And that makes me very sad.
I can trace it when it went away. When they stopped saying "they who," that just took all the love out of R&B.
They who.
What do you say?
Remember every song in the 90s had, but love when I get caught up, may who.
They took the poetry. They took the poetry out of it, man. You know,
Yeah,
like what Portia was saying. Like everything is just blatant now. You know, I
I
want to stick it here. I want to lick it there. Yeah.
Yep.
And it, you know, it was like back in the day they were saying that, but it was like in a poetic way.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
Minnie Riperton was freaky as a mug and Inside My Love, but it was classy.
Yeah, like me and Elise just did that with our episode of like 97 albums just came out. And Joe, how he was saying love scene, he was like 69 was a very good year. We know what he's talking about, but at the end of the day, it was like it was alright. You know what I mean? Like it can flow through now.
Portia ain't even talking about that. Portia's talking about that after 7, I give you the moon, the stars, the rain, my love is a fountain. That's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
She ain't talking about the sneaky 69 stuff. She's talking about
like Joe. If you look up dirty macking in the dictionary, Joe's picture will be there. I get it.
Portia ain't talking about none of that. She's talking about
Joe was like a sweetheart about it. He was a dick.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He was a homewrecker, but he was just so lovely.
That's
about
right.
It.
I couldn't stand that song, man.
Yo, bro, me and you both. Don't even get me started on this.
Yeah, I'm not
But the key thing is I think it comes back to what I always say on the timeline. There's a love deficit out here, y'all.
Yeah.
So these kids that are they can't write about love because they don't know love. You know what I mean? They don't see love. One day I was at my center and I could give many. I was in the projects with T years ago, back in 2000, and somebody was like, "Yo, Mr. Kill, is that your baby mother?" I was like, "Nah, that's my wife." Yo, it was like I said another word, like a Chinese word or something. It was like wife, like okay, you think you fancy that? Like marriage is not looked at like, you know, my kids ask me all the time. They're like, "Mr. Kill, like you're the only person we know who's married." And nigga, you say you committed to your wife. We don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but that's it. You know what I mean? The way my teens look, this is how my teens in this generation look at love. One of my girls told me, "Mr. Kill, I ain't never get married." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because what Uncle Phil did to Aunt Viv." I said, "You know what? For shits and giggles, what did fucking Uncle Phil do to Aunt Viv?" He said he divorced her and then married a light-skinned woman. And I said, "Y'all do know this is just TV, right?" Like, it was just Will had beef with the dark-skinned Aunt Viv, and they recasted her. But in their mind, because they don't have mom and dad in the house, the families, people aren't together, the only thing that you can lean on is what you see on TV.
Yep.
You know, all the people my age, when I do marriage coaching, every couple that's my age, I thought it was going to be like the Cosby Show. I've never heard a couple ever tell me I thought it was going to be like the way I saw my mother and father. Never, not one couple has ever said that to me. It's always, I thought it was going to be like it was on the Cosby Show. I thought it was going to be like it was on Martin. They don't see love, so you can't write about something that you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part with that. Jamil, what you got for your last joint, good brother?
And there I go talking again with the mute on. I'm gonna say when New York stopped being.
That was my last one. Talk about it, please.
Started following the trends instead of being the trendsetters that we are, and that we always been. That was heartbreaking. You know what I mean? Just me being a native New Yorker and seeing that, like, we always, as New York always had a certain pride about themselves. That you know what, them niggas do that over there, but we doing this. You know what I'm saying? So when I came, I stepped away and I moved to Baltimore, and I came back and I saw, they was following the trends. I was like, wow. That was hard. That's heartbreaking.
Nah, I feel you, bro. And,
heartbreaking. Yeah.
That's one of those things that I would love to kind of try to do to try to figure out how that happened or when that happened or what shifted that. I mean, I know the South picked up big and the radio picked up big, and I have to tell my teams all the time, they swear Fat Joe is from Miami. And I'm like, yo, I promise y'all he is from the South Bronx. Like, Fat Joe is not from Miami. He is from the Bronx, but this generation, you know, it's like not only do people start sounding like they're from the South, they actually moved to the South. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel you on that.
And you know what the ill thing about it was this kind of thing, you know, like when the West Coast had taken over, right? And I think I was watching a documentary about how like you had all these producers. When they saw that, they was like they all kind of banded together and was like, "Yo, we got to put our city back on." So they went to the Roosevelt Hotel, I think that's what it's called, and they were getting all these digging for all these records and all of that, Pete Rock and everybody, right? And this is around the time when, you know, all these they were digging for these records, and this is around the time when all these classic albums were being made, you know, Illmatic and all those things, you know. And so I feel like we have the capability to do it, you know, to reach within ourselves and, you know, just be us, man, and stop trying to follow the trend.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I remember, I guess it's 2003, 2004, and Saigon and Papoose were supposed to be the ones bringing New York back. Like, that was it. It was like these were the two dudes who were gonna bring New York rap back, and like both of them ended up getting shelved, and just, you know, neither one of them really ever came out and really made no noise. Vern, you talking about fumbling the bag? Saigon fumbled that bag when he was on Entourage every week on HBO, playing himself. Like, nigga, you are on HBO playing Saigon. How don't you have your album dropping right now? So, you know, that's crazy too. Vern, what about you? What's your last one?
My last one, maybe not a heartbreak, but I just knew that Shaheem was going to be the next great thing. And then, you know, his life went in a different direction. You know, he did a bid and everything. So,
yeah, I remember seeing Shaheem, and I really thought he was going to be the next Method Man.
Me too. I thought it was Baby Meth. That's how I looked upon him as.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this dude's gonna be the next one. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel you on that. You got an R&B joint, or you out?
I'm out. Yeah.
All right.
I'm out.
Man, I don't know what you're gonna hit us with now. I don't know how you gonna eclipse what's already done for the finale, but I'm all ears, good brother.
Yo, the craziest shit I think I ever saw that broke my heart, man, was when Ace Hood was on the red carpet with Bow Wow and Russell Simmons' daughter, and his fucking watch fell apart, B.
You telling me stuff I don't even know that happened. What happened now?
I heard about that too, yo.
What happened now? Somebody watch fell apart?
He had a fake Invicta or some shit. Oh no.
The bezel on the watch fell off, man.
Who was it?
Yeah, he did.
Ace Hood.
Ace Hood. Damn, I ain't heard that name.
Yo, Ace Hood used to be catching a bad rap all over, man. Damn.
His watch fell apart.
Shit was wild, man. He tried to screw the shit back on. He tried to screw it back on. While it was a bad thing.
Yeah, they was at the BET Awards. And Bow Wow and Angela Simmons was interviewing him.
I gotta do some more YouTube digging tonight. I already got
that was bad. He literally was like this in the camera.
Let me pull up the Ace Hood joint so I can see this too later on tonight, man.
It was bad.
I can't believe you ain't see the sticky shit. I've been hitting you with jewels all night, man.
Right. Yo, I got 2 tabs open. I see right here, Ace Hood watch book. And I got the sticky ready to go. So
I'm telling you, if you want to end it off, in the middle of that, man, just look at your man Kane. He was wilding, man.
I'm gonna live with these people right now. I'm gonna live with these two. What's your last point, good brother?
Now took mine when New York didn't have their own identity anymore.
Okay.
That hurt. Coming from New York, being a native New Yorker, it was like, yo, we were never the followers. We were always the one that was creating trends and creating everything. And when we started having dudes sounding like they were from Atlanta, I was all of the rap. I was done.
We good now. We in good hands now. Man.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Amir. Thank you, sir.
Salute that man. Right. Definitely not talk about you, my brother. Definitely not talk about you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nah. Amir got me like I got two things I would be laughing at. I had no idea. JR, tell them everything about the R&B raps. Where can they get at you? Where can they check you out? Everything.
All right, just check me and Elise out, my partner, Naturally Elise on the R&B raps. We just thanked Severn. We did our episode on Tony, which was great. Actually, Dwayne actually saw it, Vern. He liked
a word?
It. Yes,
that's dope.
He liked it. Now we got a new episode that's coming out that's gonna already be out. It's gonna be with Rel and Victor, and they talking about Case is Missing You, and Victor's talking about The Secret Garden, which is a funny episode. That's gonna be a good one. Yeah, we got some more stuff coming up. We got some dope regular catch that's coming up, which is amazing. So just catch us on the R&B representatives on Twitter. R&B representatives on Instagram, R&B reps on Twitter, JR's World of Soul on Instagram and Twitter, and Naturally Elise on Instagram and Twitter. Yes. All right. Y'all need to all start getting your songs together. Kill, Portia, all y'all. Yes. Amir, Jamel, I'm getting you too. You getting on the show. Yes.
You know me, bro. I always got something in ready to go at any
time. We waiting on you. Yes.
Yeah, that show was a ball. I love it.
Put up the bat signal. Nigga, I'll be there tomorrow.
Listen, I'll just send you the what you call it.
12 o'clock tomorrow, nigga. Right now.
You shocked me. Well, we got one tomorrow. We got an interview tomorrow, so we're talking about group theory. So that's
all right. Yeah, put the bat signal up.
I got you, bro.
Tell them everything that you got going on, good brother. Where can they get at you? What projects you working on? What you got out right now? Give them everything.
Peace. Yeah. Jamil Honesty, man, at bandcamp.com. You know what I'm saying? I got my new record, the Rufus Buck Project on vinyl. Can y'all see that?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. You know
fire.
Yeah, you can thank you. I appreciate that, brother. There's some really heavy stuff, man. Heavy stuff on this record, man. I'm talking to my people on this one. So I want y'all to check that out. You can go to like I said, my Bandcamp page, jamilhonesty.bandcamp.com. I'm always on IG, Jamil_honesty, you know what I'm saying? So if y'all need verses, y'all need beats, whatever. But yeah, that's right. This is what's going on right now, the Rufus Buck Project, man.
And they can cop the vinyl from the Bandcamp?
Yes, sir. All right. Yep. I got vinyl, I got CDs, I got cassettes, I got t-shirts, we got all that.
All right, no doubt.
Yo, you had a project you did with Crazy Fingers, right?
Yes, so Crazy Fingers, we're working on a project now called the God's Honest Truth. I keep doing this too, man. I keep doing this. Every time I do an interview, I forget to mention that. Yes, one of my most important projects for me, man, because I'm digging deep. I'm talking about a lot. I'm talking about breakups, depression, all kinds of stuff, man. All kinds of stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited about that project, man. You know, I got my man Rel from Rockefeller on that project. I got Elzai on the project. You know what I'm saying?
Fire.
So yeah. Crazy Fingers is a freaking maniac on these beats, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure you check him out. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I didn't even know you knew about that. Look at that. That's crazy.
I'm a student. You don't have a disrespect. I'm a student.
That's what's up. Salute to you, man. Salute to you. Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Vern, tell them where they could get if they looking for a house in Georgia, where to get at you.
Yeah, South Carolina and Alabama too. At Be the Loan Closer on Instagram, On Twitter is bchandler10, where I just talk about music and fun stuff. But be the loan closer on Instagram.
You just buying up states now, nigga. You just
Hey man,
Did you see that? You saw
yeah,
that?
like this nigga just like
He just slid that in.
Like,
Yeah.
so you was a new house in Maryland. I do Maryland too now, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Gotta expand it. Keep growing. Because you don't maintain. Either you grow or you recede.
Come on.
Yeah. I see you coming for the tithes and offerings. Porsche, they get at you, miss.
On Twitter at Cherche La Porsche. And normally on Mondays, I've just been really busy with some other stuff, but Mondays we do Twitter Spaces. And topics are dope. And again, I'll get better at this regularity thing. So check us out.
All right, no doubt. Amir, where can they get at you, good brother? Tell them what's coming up with you.
Oh yeah, man. You can get at me on Instagram AMXXR, man, and on Twitter is 25th Hour, man. Right now, True Soul, we got Peace Instrumentals 4 coming on March 31st. Tentative date for Dope Boy Soul. We also got like a couple other projects. He's working on the new SP 1200 album. The beats on that shit is crazy. And there's other stuff we got working in between, man. I'm definitely jumping on some. I did a lot of features. Should be surfacing sooner or later. And on the day-to-day, man, just catch me on either Twitter talking trash or Instagram being a jerk. You know what I'm saying? Cracking jokes.
You already know this with me. Kill 889 Twitter, IG. We'll make beatsfood.com. One thing I want to say real quick about Jamil's project on Bandcamp. There was a situation where somebody was saying something to me on Twitter about how people would spend like $200 on this Kanye STEM thing, but then they won't support their man's new album that came out. And I'm a sucker for, I'm always giving people the benefit of the doubt. And I was explaining to my man, I don't know if a lot of people nowadays in 2022 really know how to quote unquote support somebody. So what we have to do better as artists is explaining to people how to support people, how to support us, because back in the day it was very easy. If your album is in the store, I bought your album. That was all you had to do. Right. Buy an album, buy a ticket to my show, buy a t-shirt. Right. Now, people have told me, Kill, I kept streaming you when King James's new album. I'm like, thanks for streaming, but that don't pay us nothing. If you really want to support us, you can go to Bandcamp and buy it off of that.
Because because Bandcamp the artist gets most of the dollar from Bandcamp.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of the things that we as artists have to explain it, and we were going back and forth, and I was like, bro, put it like this. I was the first guy in my crew to get married. So all my people from the hood, they was like, yo, Kill, what you want, nigga? You want a toaster? You want a blender, microwave? What you want? And I'm like, nigga, I don't want none of that shit. And they like, oh, well, we ain't never been nowhere before, nigga. Like, we just see that's what people do on TV. And I'm like, nah, bro, look, it works like this. Like, you play for how much your plate is. If you bring a guest, or if your plate is 100, you bring a guest, you give 200. And they was like, oh shit, we didn't know, but we got you. And there wasn't no problem. Right. So that's what I mean by sometimes we have to explain to people how to support us before your ass ends up. Because if I didn't have that conversation, nigga, we would have had like 5 microwaves, 50 toasters, 4 blenders, all kinds of shit. So again, I'm challenging us artists to do better as telling people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell people. I did a clip of one of my music with Snowfall, and I'm like, if you feel this, please retweet it. It don't cost you anything. Like, I love the hearts and I love the likes, but if you could retweet it, that would be even dope. And when I ask people to do that, I always get more retweets than when I don't ask people to do that. So just some game out there for us. We have to start teaching people how to support us, because I think people really do want to support us. And they think in their minds they are, but they really don't understand. If you're not an artist, there's no way. Why would you know Bandcamp gives you more money? If you're not an artist, why would you know that? So we have to just explain people that. So that's my challenge for all us artists out there. Explain to people the best way to support you.
Yeah, facts. And I forgot to also mention, man, I definitely I can't even count how many records I got with Kill at the moment. We just a bunch of loose.
Yeah,
but they not loose, but they.
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Amir's next day, yeah. I'll send him and Portia beat at 4 in the morning, and the next day Amir's like, I'm done. Like it's done. You know what I mean? So
That's
definitely.
beautiful,
So
man.
definitely, and if you don't have it, again, I will always be championing this album, 21 grams.
Fire.
Get the
Yes,
vinyl. I will never steer you wrong on this one right here. So you definitely got to cop this. I will check y'all out next week, y'all.